evening, and welcome to another episode of Issues in Focus with Shibiki Vivals. I'm pleased to be here. Moreover, right now I'm looking at my school's jersey, Rosignan Secondary School, a school still dear to my heart. Um, and so, for those teachers who will be joining us from that school, shout out to all of you. But tonight we are dealing with the topic teaching the underappreciated profession. Teaching the underappreciated profession. But of course, before we go any further, before I introduce to you these special gentlemen, let us pray. Father God, we are just so thankful for another program. I pray at this point in time for the members of the audience. You have
Yes.
always been with them. You have always been guided them. And right now, there is at least one person who needs to hear this information this evening. So may you bless them, those who will join soon. And may you continue to help them as parents to support us teachers, as students to support teachers, and even help that as our colleagues, we will be able to learn from each other from tonight's program. So have your way, we pray through Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So if you are viewing, remember the only how I can know that you're viewing is if you put a comment in the comment section, whether it be on Facebook or on YouTube. Just put a comment so that we know you're there. If you are a teacher and you're looking at this program, I just want you just type in the chat. I'm a teacher. You can type in how many years you have been teaching for, and maybe what level you're teaching, whether it's primary, secondary, well, nursery, primary, or secondary. We will be very very happy to hear about that at this point in time. So I see Victoria Baston, Janessa Nicholson. Welcome, and welcome to all of you who view anonymously right now. Welcome to the program. So here is what happened now. Most of you would have noticed. Hi, Jamel Providence. Glad to see you. Most of you would have noticed that we had the two other ladies on the flyer. We are just hoping that they can be here this evening. It so happened that when I was thinking about teachers appreciation, I was searching for male teachers, and finally you will not realize Peter Misol is not on the flyer, but I'm so happy that he would have consented to be here. And then we have Sir William Cameron and Sir Dwight Newsom, Sir Misol. So we have three male teachers here. Unfortunately, the female teachers now, Guyana has internet issues. And so we are just hoping and praying that before the night on, you can get to hear from the women also about this teaching profession. So hats off to all our teachers who are viewing. May God's blessings be upon you. So with me, I have Sir William Cameron. I have to remember this story. What a student will Sir Cameron, one of his students messaged me and she was like, Sir Cameron is my PE teacher. What a coincidence. And I just smile. So I know what it is, or what it is like when your students can see you on these platforms. And we have Licia Morrison in the chat. She said, I am a teacher. Beautiful. So Licia, you can tell us which level you're teaching, how many years you have. I think you recently graduated from college, but tell us how many years, years you have been teaching. So we have Sir William Cameron. He is a teacher attached to you're still at President's College, right? Teachers move all around, so I have to confirm that particular information. He is from Guyana, more specifically New Amsterdam. So Sir Cameron, welcome. I think I sound wrong there by saying New Amsterdam. I think I'm reflecting back on your past life. You're now married. um, so tell us your new location, Sir Cameron.
Well, there's absolutely nothing wrong with saying from New Amsterdam. I must own my Burmese heritage. I'm proud of it. So, yes, I'm from New Amsterdam, and I actually started at New Amsterdam Secondary. So it would be very bad of me to not own New Amsterdam, considering that my profession started in New Amsterdam as well. And I did really enjoy my 7 years with New Amsterdam Multilateral. So, yes, so as you mentioned, I'm Willan Cameron. I've been teaching for just over 11 years now. I'm getting ready for my third weekly council, which I'm excited about. All right. Yes. Well, for you guys, weekly council, we get leave every 4 years in Guyana as a teacher. Every 4 years, you get 1 month leave. So,
Yeah.
to have my third one means I'm approaching my 12th year, so it's a very good big thing for me. And I started the profession as a result of not being able to start university when I wanted to. All right, but I always felt the need to teach because I had this one unique experience where while I was doing CAPE, and an NT science teacher was on leave, being a prefect, I was asked to help out the class, just deliver the notes to them and so on. And I did that a couple of weeks, and I could never forget that one of the students, well, a number of the students rather, they all asked me, said, "Will, are you interested in being a teacher?" And I was like, "No." I was going to computer science and those kind of things. And then they were all like, "But you're doing a good job with it." So that always stuck in my mind. So when the time came that I couldn't start university when I wanted to, and I had to look at a job, I said, maybe I should try teaching. And
Yeah.
well, the 11 years have gone by since.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you very much, Sir Cameron. I'm an alumnus of the school that you started. I always talk about New Amsterdam Multilateral School, and even some of the, I should say, some of the teachers have really touched my life. I mean, as students, you got to remember, not everyone will touch your life, but we have those specific ones that we can really and truly reminisce on and talk about the good memories of being a student. And so thank you very much for being here. Next we have Sir Peter Misol, and he is from the beautiful island of St. Lucia, colleague of mine who would have recently graduated. But even though his main aim in life is to become a pastor one day, he is still gifted in teaching. So I am happy that he still opted for that. So, Sir Misol, welcome to Issues in Focus this evening. So tell us about your teaching journey.
Thank you very much. I'm also here with my wife, Amanda Misol. She's tuned in. She's a teacher as well for over 7 years. So she's here as well, watching and supporting. Well, I started teaching straight out of A level, KIP, and from that time, that was about 2012, I taught until 2016, um, did some study and teaching at the same time, and then went off to the University of the Southern Caribbean to study full time. And I came back last year, 2020, and I've been back into the teaching profession. I'm a science teacher, physics mostly, but I also taught chemistry and biology and some and lower school math as well. So I enjoyed it. It's a fulfilling experience. I wouldn't say I've been teaching for a long time, but the years keep on piling.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much, Sir Misol. And then over to Sir Newsom.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
Well,
evening.
officially, I've been a teacher by profession since 2007, so this is my 14th year, or we could say my 15th year. But teaching has been a part of my life. I guess I can say from a child, because actually at church I would have taught in primary division exclusively for 10 years. I would have been in VBS for a number of years teaching as well. And prior to teaching in the primary division of the Seventh Adventist Church in the Sabbath School, even been a teacher. When I was in the youth class, I was actually the teacher of the class as well as I was as a student. So, and even prior to that, I remember before I became a teacher, I had some friends who at times would have asked me to assist them with maths and that type of thing. So teaching has been a part of my life in and out, I guess, growing up. I did not, I guess, plan to be a teacher, but as I was saying, there's a part of my life, and I found myself there by the grace of God.
All right. So thank you very much, gentlemen, the sirs that are on this evening. And I just want to say welcome to all those individuals who would have just joined us. I'm seeing, let me see. So we have, so Licia Morrison, she says she's been teaching for 2 years now. She's at nursery school and she's been teaching for 2 years now. We have, of course, Amanda, who's here with us. Amanda, welcome. Amanda Missol. Then we have Summer Gentle, who is here. Welcome. Denasia Morris, Candy Love, Ames, and Lucy Cinder, Alicia. Welcome to all of you this evening. So, gentlemen, so we're dealing with teaching the underappreciated profession. And so, as I listen to your introduction, I want to ask you the question: do you think that you really and truly love teaching, or is it? And I want you to be honest with your response for this question. Oh, by the way, Trisha Singh. Trisha is one of my colleague in from college. Trisha, I'm so happy to see you here viewing this evening. You can comment. I don't know if you're still there, because I tried reaching out to many of my colleagues from college, and I got responses from some of them. They're no longer in the profession. They're out of the country, and responses like that. So I don't know if you're still there, but you can give us a comment and let us know. So, gentlemen, so would you really say you love teaching, or is just a profession for your income? And you could tell us maybe what it was from the in the beginning and what it is now. No problem. You can do the transition for us.
Well, I can say, um, to still be in teaching after 14 years, it has to be the love of it. Um, anybody that does not love teaching, that goes into a profession, I think they spend a short time, and so for me, I would say I love teaching. As I was mentioning earlier, it has been in and around me, before I actually became a teacher professionally. There are days, because with every job, there are ups and downs, and teaching is one of those jobs where you're dealing with people. One of the things I had to recognize early in my teaching profession is that it is not about the content that I'm disseminating, but how I interact with my clientele, which are the students, which is more important, and the relationship I have with them, which is able to make my content delivery a little easier. And so, because it's a career where you're dealing with people and personalities, that sometimes can affect your outlook on the job. But if you understand that you're dealing with people, and how you relate to them, and you're able to deliver your content to them, it makes your job a bit, I would say, a bit easier.
Hmm. Beautiful. Sir Newsome. There is something about male. It's like every single time I meet a male teacher, I ask the question, would you be here? Do you think you will retire here? I don't know why that's the first question I ask. And I have not really gotten a positive response to say yes. The guys will just tell me, well, I'm here. But I don't think I'll stay for the long run. But I'm here, so I'm just satisfied for the moment. What about you, Sir Cameron?
Well, I agree with everything Sir New Sam said. You can't survive long as a teacher if you don't love it. All right. It's one of those things that you have to love, or else you won't be in it for a long time. And I do admit, when I first started, it was, just something to be occupied with. But very quickly, I fell in love with it, right? And I would say sometimes maybe I don't like the job, right? When you think of, having to deal with the ministry and sometimes the supervisors, and we know, okay, we can go through at times. So I don't like the job of it, but teaching, I just feel that it is in me, and I really, really love that. And I believe that's what's kept me going for so long, and I believe it's going to keep me through to the end.
All right. All right. I love your positive response on that, Cameron. Sir Misol.
Yeah, I think, like the two gentlemen who said, that I wouldn't go straight out and say I love teaching unless I'm misunderstood. Right? I guess some people don't really understand. You could grow in love with something, and also loving something doesn't mean that it's always going to be nice. But I found out, in my experience in teaching, that really and truly, like Mr. Newson said, if you don't love it, it will wear you out, and it will wear you down, and you'll just be looking for a way out. So I had to make peace with teaching, with being a teacher, and also I see it as an opportunity for growth. And
Okay.
while interacting with students and administration, parents, and I get to know more about myself. I'm exposed. I'm making contacts with people. I'm discovering my weaknesses and my strengths. So it's really is something I've come to appreciate and enjoy. There are good days, there are bad days, but I think the rewards outweigh everything. And even if I don't know how long I will stay in teaching, my job will always entail some level of teaching, whatever I'm doing. I've been
Definitely.
teaching for a long time, and I see even a pastor as being a teacher as well. So that um, I may not always be engaged in the pedagogy of it, but I will always be doing something related to the calling, because I think at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. It's a calling.
Definitely. Definitely. So just before I add Teacher Melinda's backstage, just before I add her, I just want to go to members of the audience. I've seen a number of teachers who are viewing. I know some of them have not commented, but some of them did comment to say that they're here, they've been teaching. So I just want to recognize our teachers tonight. At least note well that Issues in Focus recognize the work that you have been doing over the years, and we love you guys. Even though I'm speaking, I'm a teacher myself, but nevertheless, we love you and the work that you guys have been doing. So Alicia says she has been teaching permanently for the past 8 years after training. She taught all the level and she would have opted to stay at it. Nursery level to lay the foundation. Beautiful Alicia. Welcome to you. We celebrated International Teachers Day last week. And so hats off to what the job that you're doing. I'm seeing another colleague here from college, Zion. Zion, you should be teaching around maybe 10, 11 years now. No, can't be so much, but you can put the comment, the number of years in the chat. I'm seeing Miss Luan, Kendall, Archibald, another teacher. So Zion would have said this, she's secondary school. She loves teaching, and that is why she is still there. Um, then we have this comment coming from Doshi. She said, our profession needs more males to steer the course. Yep. Dr. Shaw, as usual, you always here with us. Thank you for being here. And then we have Melabusa. She says, I'm a preschool teacher. I love my profession. It's a profession you grow to love as time goes by. So good to see all of you teachers here. And I'm going to add Teacher Melinda here. Um, Teacher Melinda, welcome. We hope that your internet stays up this evening. I know you're one of those long serving teachers, and I hope we will be able to hear from you this evening. So Zion says she would have been teaching, 9 years. She's been teaching for 9 years now. All right, great. Any other teacher, just remember, put a comment in the chat so that you can be recognized at this point in time. So we recognize that research would have shown that teaching has been one of the most it has been one of the most under-recognized profession in the world. And because before I take your personal thoughts and what your experiences would have been if you agree with that statement, I want to show a video. I would have asked a few persons, just show it out. I'm happy that a few persons responded to this question, and I just want to show a video the members of the audience, at this point in time, what our teachers had to say about this particular question when it was asked. As we continue this discussion, a few teachers, they were asked the question, do you think that you are underappreciated? Here are a few responses that we gathered.
Good night. My name is Delny Swiven. I'm a graduate mathematics teacher with over 9 years of experience. Now you asked the question if I think that if teachers feel underappreciated. And I strongly believe that this is the case indeed. I believe that teachers feel this way. I believe that many teachers feel as though the work that they do and the efforts that they make are not valued by the public, or are not valued by parents and society as a whole. Many times decisions are made in relation to the education system, but the consultation process and the decisions being made it does not involve the input of teachers. There are many times when teachers have to go the extra mile to make the extra push just to get just in the best interest of their students. And sad to say, many times it's very difficult to get the participation and the cooperation from parents and from other persons who should be deeply involved in the education of these students. So I do strongly believe that we're underappreciated. I believe that persons do not value what we do, right? But I must state this, that despite all of that, we still love what we do. And we wouldn't stop. We wouldn't stop. This will not deter us. This will not discourage us. We still love what we do. Yes, sometimes it can be a stumbling block, but we still love what we do. We still try our best, we still show up, and we still do what we have to do. And it's important for all of us, especially those of us who are education, to remain focused and to not allow these things to deter us or demotivate us from doing our jobs.
Hi everyone, my name is Sandra Isaacs Austin. I have been a teacher for over 6 years now. I am a graduate, head of department, home economics. Yes, I do believe that teachers are underappreciated because we aren't celebrated enough for the valuable work that we put in on a daily basis, the many sacrifices we endure just to ensure that our students obtain a skill that takes them through life. Added to that, the limited resources that are made available to reach our goals all adds up to the fact that yes, teachers are underappreciated. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Akim Goodluck, and I've been a teacher for over 10 years. To the statement, if teachers are underappreciated, yes, in some instances, teachers are underappreciated. Um, the basic reason is that teachers have been considered as the second parent, in some cases, even the first parent for some of these children that we teach. For me, over the years, I've used my own resources to help students. Um, and sometimes, you wonder because of the reaction of some students or some parents. I do feel underappreciated at times. But then again, they are um, students and parents who do value and to an extent the community who do value your service as a teacher. So in some instances, I can say teachers are underappreciated. But what keeps me propelling is to know the fact that because of the few that show their gratitude or show their appreciation of my service, I continue to teach.
Hi, my name is Demancy Benjamin, and I've been teaching in this noble profession for the past 11 years. I love it. The question is, are teachers underappreciated? Of course, not just vastly underappreciated, but sadly underpaid. Teachers aren't recognized enough for the fact that we go above and beyond for our children. The sacrifices we make, the late nights beyond our working schedule, beyond our working hours, just to ensure that they'll become successful in their future endeavors. So without a doubt, teachers are very much underpaid, underappreciated, and something needs to be done about it.
All right, so those were some of the responses from our teachers, just a few of them. And as I looking at the chat, I'm looking at the chat now. Well, first of all, Pastor Brandon, welcome, and she would have extend commendations to all the committed teachers. And Miss Singh made a oh my goodness, listen to this comment here. As it pertains to having more males, I know of one male who is not appreciated at all for his contribution in his level. By the way, this is in Guyana, by the way, right? He's a male nursery school teacher. I don't think there is any other male teacher. But I know when he started UG, he was pulled from the school he was placed at because they claim parents wouldn't appreciate him being around the nursery kids. And he is very good with the little kids, a very good early childhood teacher. Wow, Trisha, thanks for sharing this evening. And so I noticed Teacher Melinda, she's having some issues with the internet there, definitely. But gentlemen, I want to know, what do you think as you listen to all the teachers who would have mentioned that yes, they love their job, but they're underappreciated? What are your thoughts on this? Do you feel the same way too?
Cameron touched on something. So Cameron touched on something when he was speaking. He said he doesn't like dealing with the ministry. And in terms of appreciation, at least the one place you want to get appreciation from is from your superiors and people that have you employed. That's why people leave jobs when they don't feel appreciated by their superiors and people that have to deal with. They would tend to look somewhere else for that appreciation because you want to feel valued. I think that's for most teachers. That's where it will come from because generally most teachers are in a sense public servants. We're employed by the governments of our respective countries. So I think sometimes in that area you can feel underappreciated. One person you mentioned in the video is lack of resources. Teaching for my area, I'm teaching technical drawing, which is a what we call a skilled subject or a vocational subject area, and I would have experienced that over the years, teaching something also called technology education, lack of resources, and so those things can make you feel underappreciated. And especially when you're called into meetings by, let's say, your school supervisor or curriculum officer, and they're inquiring about your exam results, whether it be at CXC or CAPE level, and they're telling you that you need to do better based on money is being spent. But when you look at what is the money being spent on and how is it actually adequately, assisting me, so those things can make you feel underappreciated, and as well as other things. So I'll pause it to give you other gentlemen a chance to speak and share from their perspective the other things that may make you feel underappreciated.
All right, thank you very much, Son Newsome. So let's pause a while. I need to take Teacher Melinda because in the event anything goes wrong, at least she spoke something for the evening. So Teacher Melinda, good evening and welcome to you. Just tell us how many years you have been teaching, and we are at the top. Well, I'm not even going to ask you if you love teaching. I know you love teaching. You've been there for so long. But tell us, do you think that the amount of years you're teaching, and do you think that teachers are underappreciated?
Pleasant good evening, everyone. Thank you, Sister Shabiki, for giving me this opportunity to be a part of the podcast. Yes, like you rightly said, I have been teaching, and as you said, for a number of years, you don't even want to ask because of the way you probably would have looked at and seen me for the years, maybe whilst you were at school and then you're out of school and you still know that, oh, she's still a teacher. It has to be that there are years attached to that. So, yes, indeed, I've been teaching for 26 years now. So, I'm 26 years old.
Yeah.
If I shall say that, I'm 26 years old. And God be praised for keeping me thus, for strengthening me, and also empowering me because I've been teaching ever since I've been a Seventh-day Adventist. So I claim and I give all allegiance to Him for the talents and the skills and the patience and all that I would have accomplished. I give all praise to Him. And the question that is commonly asked, the one that is on the forefront of this pod, is if teachers are underappreciated. Listen, I can say yes and I can say no. Because in some cases, teachers are, yes, underappreciated, and in some cases, they are appreciated. However, the source from which teachers may look for such appreciation may never show up. All right. So you may very well be experiencing, and it weighs more on the side of on the appreciation. It weighs more on that side. You find, like I listened to a few of those recorded speeches, which alluded to the fact that indeed teachers have been given that hang on the hammer where they're underappreciated. It is a fact, and it's only because of the love of it. And for well, like for me, I really believe that I have been created to be a teacher. All right, I believe that because of the way God has led and the things that I have been able to do. It has to be creation. This is not just being made. And for those of you who would have gone through training starting from CPC, there's always that notion. Those two notions are always there when you do education philosophy or philosophy of education. Are teachers made or born or created? That debate
Yes,
is there.
yes.
But I honestly
Been
go to
there.
the side of those being created. God's blessings to those who are listening. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Teacher Melinda. Happy 26th birthday. And gentlemen, I don't know if well honestly he's there for the long hours. So maybe next what? 10, 15, 20 years, Willon, you will come on the program and I'll hear Willon saying he's 26 years of age. Miss Sol may never reach there. And Sir Newsome, I don't know if he will ever reach there too. God may call him into another direction. So wow. So congratulations to you. And that is why I really needed you on this podcast because I know about your years of service and I know you would have been able to impact us in that way. So let's continue with the question. And then there are two questions in the chat we're going to address as we go along. So gentlemen, Sir Misal and Sir Cameron, what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I would say that Miss Melinda made a very important point that it all boils down to where you're looking for the appreciation from. And the truth is, you may never get the appreciation from the ministry or from the administration. And I think, really and truly, that will cause you to be bitter if you're looking for that appreciation. And the truth is, you sometimes have to ask yourself, what did I sign up for? Did I sign up to be appreciated or to make a difference? And you know, seeing that we're helping students every day, to me the appreciation comes from when somebody sees me 5 years later and still calls me sir. To me that's where the appreciation really comes from, because people still hold you in a high regard, the changes that you have made in their lives. And this is where the appreciation should be valued more. Coming from the students, because not everybody's going to see the worth. Some parents may fight you down now and later may realize you were actually doing the right thing for their students. So that's why it's important to, just hold your ground and do not capitulate because of and everybody may get fed up, but I think it's just being reminded why you are here. I do think that teachers should be paid more, definitely, because in every country it's the same thing. Teachers are sometimes more educated than a lot, even politicians, and even people in the ministry higher up. Some teachers at the classroom level, actually even more educated and more qualified, but they are being paid much less. Of course, but I don't think that the payment really demonstrates qualification. I think it's just being valued and knowing that they want you to be there and they appreciate what you're doing. They people testifying of your performance and so and so. But the truth is, because of the emotional involvement in teaching. It really is emotionally taxing. So you could be asking yourself that question every day. But praise God that we as Christians could see that could see beyond the clouds of discouragement, because we know that we are not just working, and I believe in Christian education. I teach at an Adventist school. We are not just working for the now, but we are working for the hereafter. And that for me is enough motivation to keep going.
All right. So just before I take Sir Cameron, I just want to pause to encourage members of the audience to share this podcast. Um, it may some teacher, because right now there's a lot going on in different countries. In Trinidad and Tobago here, we have our own issues dealing with, Sir Newsome, as it relates to the ministry and all of those things that are happening. And in Guyana, it's the same thing. I can't say about St. Lucia, but many teachers are discouraged at this particular point in time. And so we want you to share this podcast to encourage them. You never know. Somebody's speech may be able to touch a teacher at this point in time. If you're looking, if you're viewing on YouTube, do the same, like the video. If you have not subscribed as yet to my channel, please subscribe. It will make a difference. Over to you, Sir Cameron.
Well, I really felt like you could have just skipped me because the question was already beautifully answered by everyone. They touched on all the things that go through my mind. Um, Again, yeah, just to reemphasize, okay, let me take a different angle so that I don't say what anybody else has said. The greatest teacher on earth was crucified. All right. The greatest teacher on earth was crucified. So that clearly shows what man thinks of teachers. All right.
Hmm.
Um, but as a teacher now that is following that greatest teacher, the only appreciation we need is to make it to heaven so that he can give us that crown. Right? I saw somebody mention something about whether teaching is a calling and stuff like that, and I really do believe it is. And we know from studying the Bible it is actually a spiritual gift. All right. So if it's your spiritual gift and you feel that in you that you ought to be a teacher, it doesn't matter what the ministry does, what the parents say, how the child reacts. You know what you are really working for. And again, somebody mentioned it. 5 years after, does the child still respect you? All right. You walk into the bank, do they try to help you as quickly as possible? You get to the hospital, do they give you the best care? That is when you that is what you're really working towards. You're working towards making a wonderful member of society. So it doesn't matter what they say or how they act or what the salary is like and stuff like that. You are working to build the society and to build the kingdom of God. And I believe in every way, if you do your work diligently, teachers are appreciated. I'm not going to be naive to say I don't understand the frustrations that we go through from time to times. Those do exist and they are very real and they're very valid. But at the end of the day, we are working towards making contributing members of society and working towards making souls for the kingdom. And in that regard, I do not believe we are underappreciated because God sees and He knows.
All right, Sir Cameron. There, I just had to reflect. Every time I look at this jersey and I see Rose now secondary school, there's so many memories that are flooding my mind. But I remembered when I came here to study. I mean, of course, we always have our teachers discourse about not being appreciated and all of that. But I always say the greatest thing, one of the things that really keep teachers in the profession are the children. When you can look at them years after and they can come back to you. I remember a student came to me. It was my first school in 2009. It was Belgium Secondary School. And those of you, if you're viewing from Berbice, when we talk about Belgium Secondary School, you know what I'm talking about there. And this particular child didn't want to do anything. The whole class was a frustration, as a matter of fact. Parents telling you, don't come and call me if this child do anything bad because I am done. I can't do anything about it. So it's just teachers have to deal with whatever they can deal with. And this particular boy, he never wanted. Sometimes I'm teaching them. I used to teach them English literature. He doesn't even want to write his name. He doesn't want to do nothing. And it was years after he came to me and he came to my home and he was like, Miss Shibiki, I have something to say to you. I'm like, okay, cool. He was telling me he was dating and everything, and then he said to me, he said, Miss, I'm really sorry about the troubles I used to give you. No, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry for the fact that I didn't used to, I never wrote my name. I never used to pay attention. I'm sorry for the fact that I used to be troubling other children. And I'm listening there. And as he is standing there with regrets and almost in tears. But at the same time, I am happy that even though he was well, we will term him bad because if we're teachers, when we reach in we corner, we talk about the bad children, but we not tell them that in front of their face. I am sorry that as a teacher, I never lost my cool on him. So that at the end of the day, he could not, while saying that he couldn't tell me that, Miss, but you were very disrespectful to me, or things like that. He couldn't tell me that because I tried in my mind to remember where I am teaching, this type of school I'm teaching. And I am happy after years, he could have come back and he could have said sorry. And for me, that really touched me. And until now, I have a badge that I wear from time to time. To teach is to touch a life forever. And I remembered wearing that since in college, and I made a new one after that one got old, and I kept that. And indeed, even as teachers, although with all of the different episodes we go through, we can still say one of the greatest reward in teaching is when we can see the lives of our students transform, not only from now, but when they can find Christ and accept Him. And so that carries me to our next question. Um, Let me talk about this. I know I haven't give you this guys this, but I want to talk a bit about COVID and teaching, and how has COVID changed the entire dynamics for you? Because all of you're in different countries. We have Guyana here, we have Tobago here, we have St. Lucia. How has COVID changed the dynamics for you as it relates to teaching?
Well, for me, teaching teaching has always been, something we do. Basically, I could say it's like when you leave this school, it's now work start, right? Because you work at home a lot as a teacher. Or some teachers vow not to take work at home, and they leave the school at 6 and 7 o'clock, right? But it's just now you feel with COVID, I feel like I'm always at work, with the because we use the Moodle platform here, Moodle and Google Meet, and it just feels like there's always something to do, and then it's just so much more work now, and you have to keep this students engaged. And with the whole idea of truancy, I realized that more students are missing school now, and so you have to hold them accountable before, well, the child has to be in the class, they're in the class. But now when they miss school, you have to contact them, you have to contact their parents. And I would say that it's just more stressful now with the COVID pandemic. However, with the online platform, it gives us a greater measure of control because of the tools that we're using. So there are trade-offs, but being in the classroom is always preferable because sometimes you don't always feel like you're connecting with the students. And so, just a few of the challenges.
All right, thank you for sharing those challenges.
All right. Let me first of all say online teaching is way harder. Many persons are of the a different opinion, but online teaching is tough. Online teaching is tough. All right. So that alone, magnifies the work a whole lot more. And then to go with some of what Sarah said, the students missing classes, and it's really hard to keep track of them. And then I have no idea what the islands are like, but Guyana is so large, right? So at least in my school, we literally have children living in the mountains. All right, there's no internet, there's no phone there, so they're definitely missing class, and that's like a quarter of my school, right? Definitely missing classes. So some of them they have done no schoolwork since COVID started. All right, so that's how tough it is. And as Sir mentioned, you just feel like you always have something. Everything is an online meeting now. Everything is online submission now, so it's been a really really tough adjustment. Um, and it's been messing with my mental health personally. Like as soon as things started to clear up a bit and we could get to go back outside, it was the happiest time for me because especially teaching PE and coaching, being indoors too long was really just it's not good for anybody, let alone somebody like me who's accustomed to being on the go. So it was really, really, really hard. But we've been doing much better now, I believe, considering you naturally start to adjust and adapt to it. But I really can't wait for things to come back close to normal because I don't think they will ever be normal. But at least come back to as close to normal as possible.
All right. Thank you very much, Cameron, for sharing that.
Uh, The guys have mentioned some valid points on the cons related to COVID, how it's affected education, and I'll agree with them. I just want to take us a different slant and probably suggest one pro. Um, for me, it has because we've had to do somewhat of a blended system, and utilize the technology a bit more. It from on my part, I would say that it has pushed forward my education, my teaching into more a technological age. Um, but it is harder. It is really harder, as Cameron said, too, because especially when students do not turn on their cameras and you're staring at blank screens, you're asking for responses and you're not getting responses. I was simply beg, okay, you're not responding. At least give me something in the chat or give me a thumbs up. Let me know you're there, that you understand. But with regards to sometimes correcting assignments and setting assignments, I can. It's like sometimes once you do the hard work at initially to set up one, it can make it easier for others. Because even one of the things I'm looking at, as I was talking about as a pro advancing my teaching into the more technological way, I recognize now that I could set a multiple choice exam and I can have it for years online. And once I have it set up properly, I can use it, reuse it over time, and simply keep adding questions as I go along. And I will have that rather than the system I have on web, maybe I have to type it up and photocopy and over time and not be able to adjust. And so I see pros and cons of it, where I can send out links and I can set it to correct itself. So I don't have to go back and correct a multiple choice exam once it is set up correctly. So I'm seeing some pros in that regard. But as the guys would have mentioned, those cons are very much real and it's very more challenging, especially the mental health aspect of it as a teacher. One of the things I try to do is to get outside, just to take a quiet moment and get outside because being sitting down all of this time is not good, especially for males. As young, when we were younger as boys, we didn't like to sit down.
True, true, true. So Soren, you guys are not back in schools.
Well, I am back because I teach upper school, which is form four,
Okay.
five, and 4 and 5. So and Trinidad and Tobago, the 4, 5, and 6 are out.
Yeah.
Um, but the students are out if they are vaccinated. Teachers, once you have students that are vaccinated and returning to school, you're supposed to go out. So I go out. Unfortunately, at this time, none of my form 5 students are fully vaccinated. But I think by next term, most of them will be. So I go to school 2 days per week for my form 4s when I'm scheduled with them. So I actually went to school today. Last week I would have gone to school, I think 4 days, because I went expecting my form 5s to come out, but they did not come out. And so I made the
Okay.
adjustment this week. Um, and on last week, Friday, I heard the Minister of Education mention in the Parliament when we were having our budget debate that should all things go well, the lower school students, the vaccinated ones, that is fully vaccinated ones, would be returning to school, I presume, sometime later this term or probably next term. So um, I may be out all the days of the week, but that poses another challenge because while I'm going to school, like today, I had 3 students in person, face to face, but the majority of my class is probably about 16 students. Most of them were online. And so while I'm teaching a face-to-face class, I had to have myself set up for an online setting. And
Yes.
it requires now more gadgets on my part because I'm teaching a practical subject. So actually, I had 3 screens. Digressing a bit, I had 3 screens: the laptop screen, my second monitor, which I usually teach with 2 monitors. But because it's a drawing subject, and I want to be able to share so that the students online can see, as well as students in class can see the same that they are seeing at a third screen, so that I can utilize the first tool where I can see myself and monitor the class. as well as the third screen I was simply where I'm using that to share. And also I have a webcam in case I'm actually doing drawings, because I don't have a graphics tab at this time. If I had a graphics tab, I could write on different things. Or another webcam, just so that we could to facilitate face-to-face and online simultaneously. And so that poses another challenge, being back out at school. So, because rightly and truly, I'm within my right to say I can only teach you face-to-face students, but
Yes.
I can't do that and leave the others behind. It will
Mhm.
be, I don't think God will hold me, God will be comfortable with that decision.
Exactly, exactly. I remembered last week. I'm teaching up a school too. So I remembered last week, one of the days I was there, and they had about 7 vaccinated students in school. And it so happened, while majority, most of my classes have about 30 students, right? So while I am focusing on the 7, I remember the student online was like, Miss, don't forget we're here too, no? Because this is the first time I am doing this. I am doing physical and online. And so I gone away because my thing is I prefer the physical. No matter what, I prefer being there. I'm extremely kinesthetic. When that child said that, I'm like, oh my apology. And so it's like sometimes now you're looking at the screen and your attention is there, and the in school children looking at you and said, Miss, you're here, you're seeing our hands. And but this week, I kind of learned how to manage it a bit, but it's hard. It is hard. And I think the hardest part of it is that when you go to school, like today I went into school, just had the fifth form this morning, and all my other classes are online, lower forms. And I have to be in school because I can't leave to come home because I may miss a class. So I have to sit down there, and teachers not really in school because everybody just go and teach the class and go home. And I'm just there for the entire day teaching screen. That is so, so hard. And teacher Millen, let us hear your comment on this.
Well, to do virtual teaching. And no way in the years that we were trained that was a part of it. Of course, we did a bit of information technology as technology advanced, and it came to these parts of the world. But teaching during this pandemic, as the others would have alluded, and I'm certain there are teachers in the audience, and who can conform to this. If your nerves ends are not taken care of, you're crazy. You go crazy. And like you rightly said just now, you had this experience of having to look at the screen and having 7 children physically there, and screen is saying I am here, physical is saying I am here. For me, because I am at the primary level, I am doing strictly online. As a matter of fact, since last year April, I have been online all through. I've never gone back to physical contact, only like to supervise the national exams. But the online thing it's hectic. It drains you, like Sir Willon said. It takes more out of you. You have to do everything in the physical realms. Yes, you have to do stuff, but it's more, you have more connections. It's a connectivity. The online, it's distant, and the things that you may get to readily correct and mold, if not correct at the same time, you can't get to do it readily online. There is that barrier. So me, I want physical. I want to go back, run around that class, hug my boys and girls, give them that thumbs up where, the kind of physical thing, man. God created us for contact, not distance. So it's a
So
challenge. It's a challenge.
definitely, definitely. All right, let's pause a while as we go to the members of the audience. So there are two questions here, one from Wilbert Fraser, one from Sansia. Hope both of you are still viewing as we address your questions. So we're gonna take maybe two persons can give a response on Wilbert's question for the interest of time, and two persons can give a response on Sansia's question. So Wilbert asks this: do teachers see teaching as a profession, or is it a calling? I think Teacher Melinda would have alluded a bit to it. Is teaching a God-given gift? I am extending great appreciation for the sacrifices from all teachers. So maybe just one person just touch base on this particular question.
Yeah, well, this is what I was referring to when I was making my point about the appreciation of teachers. So I believe the first part, do teachers see teaching as a profession, or is it a calling? Well, would depend on the individual, right?
Definitely.
But the second question, most definitely, is teaching a God-given gift, and yes, we do believe so because it is listed as a spiritual gift.
All right, beautiful. Well said. I don't think we need any more explanations for that particular question. So Sanchi is asking, in what ways are teachers unappreciated, and how does it differ from any other profession? I don't know why I was expecting this question. You know, when I came up with a topic for the flyer, and I'm like, somebody's gonna ask, why y'all teach? Why do you think that you guys are underappreciated and we're not underappreciated in other professions? So Sansi, I'm happy that you asked this question. So go right ahead.
I
I
just
actually
want to
think it's
know
an
if you have enough time for the answers to this question.
Kuroka, if you're still listening, I'll be very happy to see you put a comment in the chat. But if not, I know you're going to catch up. Ensure that I message you for you to go back and listen to this aspect of it. So go right ahead. I noticed the right microphone was on and will on.
it's actually an excellent question, and it's a real question because there
Yes,
is underappreciation, or anybody in any profession can feel unappreciated based on how you are treated. You know, during the start of the pandemic, and it was especially highlighted in the first world countries, when the essential workers were the ones on the outside, everybody else was on the ones on the inside. And so you had doctors going to work because they're running the hospitals, but you also had the sanitation engineers going to work. You had the bus drivers going to work. You had the cleaners going to work. And for some people, they then recognize that these professions outside of the doctor and the lawyer, needed to be appreciated, because you look down on them, from time to time, because may think that their tasks are menial, or we class people sometimes because of their salaries, based on what they work for. We class, certain category, and unfortunately, that's something that has resulted because of sin. Um, but I think the difference with teachers, and as with what teachers would speak about, is that the teachers teach nobody can be who they are without a teacher.
true.
All right, you cannot reach wherever you're going without a teacher, and the impact a teacher has on a person's life, for positive or negative, is much different to what the sanitation engineer collecting your garbage has on your life. There's a different impact. And so, because of, for me, those reasons, the impact upon a person's life, especially a child's life, more than a life, and the responsibility given by God. Teaching is a God-given gift, and God holds teachers responsible for the impact they have on children. So I think in that regard, society as a whole does not put the same appreciation or the same perspective on the role of teaching. And at times, because of that, it makes it underappreciated. And the ones that understand their calling, unless they know that where true appreciation comes from, they can't feel burned out. They can't feel it. They can't. And if they don't, as Teacher Melinda was saying, if they don't control their nerve endings, they can move from one feeling that this is where God called me to, that it's a profession, and I don't see this working for me anymore, and eventually leave.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Anyone want to add anything else? All right. So I think Dwight would have nicely summed it up. One of the things I hear constantly from teachers is that nobody appreciate the monies that they spend to buy things. So you have to buy cardboards and you have to buy this. And when ministry don't send stuff to the schools, they tell you teachers you have to learn to improvise, and you have to do so much, right? But people don't look at that. And when parents come in and they quarreling with you because you don't want to use your lunch, to talk with them. You don't want to use your break to talk with them. They feel as if you're supposed to be talking to them at your lunch and break. Like, come on, right? So these are all different things. As I speak with colleagues, I remembered only last night I was speaking to another colleague, and she was telling me, a nursery school teacher, she was telling me, girl, I'm sitting there with these children. It's like these parents didn't even teach these children to write their names. I'm asking them questions. No, everybody just looking at me. Nobody answering. I feel like if I am there alone, even though they're there. So it's like right away, who feels appreciated when the children you in your care, not even talking to you, right? So it's a lot. It's a lot going on. It's a real lot going on. And so I want to know, teachers, now carries me to the next question. I want to know, as parents, how parents making your work harder or easier? And if you have to say something to the parents this evening, what would you say to them? So the first half of the question, do you think parents are making your work easier or harder? And if you have to say something to the parents this evening, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I think I will start on this one. I guess try to answer that question. You know, just as one single unit would be the same thing as saying all teachers are good or all teachers are bad. Because parents are individuals, and so we have parents of varying backgrounds and personalities who contribute in different ways to the experience as a teacher. I find, of course, parents have to look after their interests. So I do not expect the parents to take the side of the teacher. That would be bizarre, right? So I appreciate it when a parent is really concerned about a child. They want to know how the child is doing, and so on, like that. And also when they are contributing to the school to make sure that teachers feel appreciated. So we get both the positive and the negative. And so I want to highlight both of them. I don't want to be pessimistic. I also want to add as well that my organization, they have recently started to provide financial contribution to get supplies. So I just want to recognize that. I don't seem ungrateful. So they have been trying. So thank you for that to the mission, the solution mission of SDA. All right. So in addition to what I was saying about parents, I found that there are some in the online environment especially, there are some parents who are really in tune. They are really trying. They are giving their best. They are ensuring that the children complete the assignments. And then there are other parents who I believe need to pay more attention to what their child is doing online. They need to ensure that the children are doing the work, the children are present in class. And I'm aware that there are challenges, but I believe without, well, it's true, without parents, we wouldn't have any students to teach. So we definitely are grateful that they would choose to, trust us with their children. But we believe at times, as long as there sometimes needs to be more cooperation, and as long as we have that full cooperation with the parents, they will enjoy the success of their child.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you very much.
All right, let me say good night to Kobe. I see him in the chat there. Welcome, bro. Um, yeah, some parents do make it very hard, extremely hard, and other parents make it extremely easy. All right. So it just depends on the parent and the child, of course. Right. And what I would say to parents is remember, these are your children, and you should want what is best for your children. And irrespective of what you think about the school or the teacher, that is where your child is going, and you ought to work with the teachers of that school. But even if you, no matter how much, what story you might have had with the teacher, the child is in that class, you ought to work with that teacher, and with both parents and teachers working together. The only thing I can see coming out of that is great things for the
Yeah,
student.
yeah. Definitely, definitely. Teacher Melinda?
Yeah, sure. As I was, alluding to the fact that the question of parents or parents giving teachers a hard time, if it is a yes or a no, like I would say, it goes both ways. Yes, there are parents who give teachers a hard time, and I would have had experiences on quite a number of occasions. And there are those who make you, celebrate teaching. There are those who do that for you. They give you that drive. And so what I would say, like the question was asked, what will you say to a parent or to parents? I would say generally, I think Sir Willon alluded to it, that I'll take the words of the song, we all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. We need parents, and parents need us equally, if not, three-quarter way. They need
Yes.
us and we need them, because if they don't provide the children, then we will not be able to teach. We can't teach, stools and benches, and in these days, the faces of screens. So we need each other, and especially at a time like this, we need parents to exhibit patience and tolerance, and to make sure that there is a balance between schooling online and the teacher and home as well. We need each other for that. If there's no balance, then we will end up downhill. And so let's just cooperate to make this thing work. Thank you, Kobe, for the greeting.
And you got another one from Sharon Cummins. All right, you can go right ahead, Dwight.
I like that comment from teacher Melinda. The balance. It's something that's going to come to my mind. I think the parents' philosophy of education is what helps to make the teacher's job easier or harder. I remember very early in my teaching career, I had a student. He was in my phone class and also in my subject class. I was teaching him. I called the parent, the father, about his conduct. He wasn't doing work and skipping classes, and I was abused on the phone, verbally abused, and received some foul language. And based summing it up, he was telling me he did not receive he doesn't have his passes. However, he's successful in life because at that point in time he was running a food stall, and was pretty successful on Minimal. And so if he could make it, his son could make it without education. So why am I calling to bother him about his son's education? Um, and and so that told me the approach I need to take. I need to step back. Now, when I spoke to the mother afterwards, it was a different approach, and even the father's sister was a different approach. They had a different perspective. However, the son followed the perspective of the father, and eventually didn't get really his passes, and it was working in the same food stall, and I would have seen him some years after. Um, Unfortunately, that son is no longer alive. Um, that's another story. But again, I'm saying the philosophy of it, the parent, the education, the approach. I says, and so my life, my task rather was more difficult into reaching that child and helping him reach his potential. Um, However, I've had other cases now where the parents are more involved, and therefore you can have conversations with them as to the betterment of their child. And so you can be candid and frank with them when they're on that same page. And I can't remember who was saying it, but that they're encouraging their child in their homework. And I can share two experiences, one of my own. For me, my mom, she only had a primary school education. And it was probably my last year of primary school. I recognized that the work I was doing at that point in time, some of it my mother would not be able to assist me with, because back in her day she didn't do those things. And so while she would have done her best for me, I was now a sense on my own. And I developed in secondary school that I had to use the skills she gave me. And because she was there with me, pushing me and doing my homework and consistently helping me, that I have to do my do my task and do it properly. in secondary school now, when I didn't have her support to assist me, I had the tools at least to go forth and to learn on my own and to read and to understand. And I also remember in this from reading from Ben Carson's book, Gifted Hands, he also does share that his mom didn't have, she wasn't educated, but when she instilled in them that they should read and they should write books summaries. And so again, while she didn't have the to be able to sit down with him and help him with his work, she instilled tools with him to accomplish. And then again, you're seeing an involved parent, even though they may be as they have the educational background to sit down with the child and do the work, because of they're involved and their philosophy of education, they made the teacher's task easier.
Definitely, definitely. I'm loving it.
Should
Mhm.
I gotta station something else. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Another message to parents. Please, parents, love your children and seek to understand them. That is also a great challenge that we have, where you have some very good, some model students, right? But they're facing such a hard battle at home. And this is outside of the classroom now. And they're calling you, they're messaging you because they need help, simply because the parents just want to be telling the children. But after a while, when a child becomes a teenager, they want to at least have an equal hearing, right? And it's tough for them, especially at the school where I'm at, where we're a boarding school. So the child basically has an identity here away from home.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
then when they get back home, it's so most times just a couple of days. So the parents are kind of learning back their children, especially during holidays, especially during the COVID. And at times it can be so rough on them. So parents, they're your children, and you always want what's best for them. But of course, you must love them, and in loving them, you must also seek to understand them.
I love that point. I love it. I love it. I love it. And one thing I want to say before we go to our final question as we close, some parents feel as if teachers supposed to make brains. We supposed to make the bad into good. We supposed to turn stones into bread. And it is so surprising sometimes when you sometimes in certain setting, and people don't know necessarily that you have affiliation with teaching, and the comments they make about teachers. I remembered the other day I was in Scarborough, Sir Newsome, and while I'm there at a vegetable stall, I handed the money and just finishing online class. It was one of those free days, and the parent, the guy who was there, was like, I can't understand these teachers. I really can't understand them. I don't know why is it that they're teaching. And he started going on and on and on about teachers. And I was like, I listening. I'm like, okay. I said, man, do you know us? So I know I understand you talking about the teachers. But I said, have you been focusing on what your child is doing? And he looked at me, was like, well, girl, I don't know, the child with a mother. He is good. That part hit me, and I took the opportunity at that point in time. Didn't tell him I'm a teacher yet, but I said, teachers have it hard too, and I said, worse it is COVID. I mean, parents have to do their part, so we have to work together. So when I'm about to leave, I said, I'm a teacher too. I understand the struggles that you're facing, but I want you to see on the teacher's perspective. I said, I have a good day. And he just looked at me, all right, miss, all right, miss, all right, miss. So sometimes we find these situations happening where children are not even living together. But whatever it is, maybe the child tells them something, they're just gone, they had no communication with the teacher whatsoever. And listen to me, another thing, parents, children can tell you anything. If they don't like a teacher, they don't like a teacher. if if they're not doing work, they will tell you the teacher didn't give work. People, check it. It is better for you to give that teacher a call to find out. Don't just take the child's word as the final say, and then you go to everybody and talk about ex teacher, and the teacher is nowhere to be blamed. So let us work together as we go through life. And teachers, I want to say this to you. One of the a quotation that my lecturer always used to us in college, Miss Breedy, she told us this. She said, doctors bury their mistakes, but teachers live with their mistakes forever. And many times when you listen to sermons and you listen to people in very high profession, they will tell you, a teacher told me I could never accomplish, I could never amount to anything. A teacher said this, a teacher. So the negatives, they will always remember that one negative teacher. That teacher could be the best teacher ever. But that one day that that teacher lost his or her cool and said, you know, you, Miss All, you will never come to anything. Miss All will forget every good thing that teacher ever done for him, but he will always remember the bad. And likewise, vice versa, we have people in high noble professions who will tell you that there is this one teacher who made them believe in themselves and they are what they are today. So I want to encourage you teachers as you continue this journey. And so the final question, well, teacher Melinda, you exempted from this question here, but I honestly want to know this as we close and as you guys dialogue it, as I listen to you, I realized I felt that you love this profession very much. And so my question to Dwight, to Peter, and to Willon, do you think that you will retire in this profession? Yes or no?
If you had asked me this question probably 2 years ago, I would have told you point blank no. I wouldn't see myself continuing this. I think at that point in time, I felt a bit of underappreciation, um, especially coming down from the superior side. Um, you know, but again, you sometimes you go back to basics when you're facing tough times. You go back to basics, and you check your foundation and you address things again. Um, Surprisingly for me, COVID has given me has caused me to take a perspective on whether I want to do this thing or not. And it has for me, amidst the challenges, being able to solve problems, to be able to teach my classes. How am I going to do this thing? Because I'm now in a case where I have to figure out how am I going to not just deliver content, but get my students to feel confident enough that they could actually do this thing, pass this subject area. It has given me, in a sense, a new lease on life, and I can see myself going on to the end with this, and continue growing as a teacher because I believe I have grown over the last year, and learned some new skills. However, I believe in life's call and God's leading that sometimes you move to stages. So where He
Yeah.
has you now could be a stepping stone for another stage. It's not that I don't like teaching. I mean, Joseph was moved from being with his father's house. He moved to being in Potiphar's house. Then he moved to being in the prison. Then he moved to being in Pharaoh's house. All in all, changing based on where God had him to be. So I think
Yeah.
if God calls me elsewhere, I will go. However, I believe that in some form or fashion, I will still be a teacher because before I became a professional teacher, I was teaching voluntarily, as I said earlier in the program. And so I believe in some form or fashion, I will still be teaching, especially with regards to church service.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that. Um, Sir Cameron, looking like I'm just seeing a principal sitting there. Look at him.
No, I've not really envisioned myself being a HM, to be honest, unless maybe I open my own school. Well, I do believe I will be in teaching until the end. Because the one thing that I happen to love more than teaching is coaching, which is teaching, just differently. All right. And the reach that it gives me to be able to interact with children and make a difference in their lives. um I don't think there's a price on that. So I do see myself going all the way with it, unless of course, as Brother Newsam mentioned, God calls me to something else. Right. So if for me, this is not just my job and my passion, but it is also my ministry. So I do see myself surviving here until the end. I just want to respond to something you mentioned earlier before I hand over to sorry, Miss All, was when you talk about teachers turning stones into bread and stuff like that. And I will never forget John Wooden, one of the most successful coaches and teachers of all time. He said, I find his definition of success to be the absolute perfect definition of success. Right? John Wooden said success is a peace of mind which comes from self-satisfaction in knowing you did your best to become the best you're capable of becoming. Right? He said, as a parent, when his child came in with C's and B's, he wasn't satisfied. All right. But as a teacher and a coach, she quickly realized that some persons just would never get that A in that particular subject. You understand? But as if the best that they can do is a C, then once they push themselves the best, and they get that C, that is success for them. Success for everybody, in essence, comes in different forms. And that is an important thing to remember. I believe for everybody, success is not the same. So once we keep that at the back of our minds as teachers and as parents, we will be able to help our children, maximize their potential.
Excellent. I love that. I love that. I love that. Beautiful. Miss All.
Well, you never know. You could never tell the future. But one thing I do know is that I do not plan to retire. However, I cannot say definitely that I will not retire in teaching, because I may well, I have aspirations to be a professor or lecturer at the university level. So who knows? Maybe after God takes me through a lifetime of different experiences, I may just find myself back in the classroom.
Yeah, yeah. I can see that happening. All right. So we just want to go close in just to take a few comments from the audience. Um, so I want to say commendations to those two nursing male teachers in Guyana. That's from Linden. And I do hope and trust that for anybody who may know them, Cindy, if you know them, you can express my regards to them for the work that they're doing as nursing school teachers. Um, I want to say, okay, let me just bring up Pastor Brandon's comment, and there are many other persons like this. She said her mother has been teaching since January 6, 1975. Please send my regards to her. Wow, that's a long time. To present, and her father October of the same year, and so her sister and her and the sisters. Oh, there are many. I know Miss Brandon taught me in college. Yeah, she was in college too. They're all trained teachers. Wow, everybody following after the footsteps of their parents. Very nice. And then Sister Grelly McCallman, she said, respect to all the teachers. I'm a teacher not by profession, but I'm happy to say as a mom, I am my children's first teacher. I wonder how many parents can actually say that they're their children's first teacher. You guys are valued and deserves better. Dr. Shaw, teachers are like diamond and gold to me. They're the ones that mentored, advised, and helped me to achieve a PhD. Um, this pandemic with hybrid and virtual teaching requires devotion, patience, and courage for our teachers. Let us respect them and support them with appreciation and being thankful for their work. The other comment she made is that teachers should be classified as first responders. They're the ones that influence our children and helps mold their characters for their future successes. Beautiful. So thank you very much, Dr. Shaw, for the comments. And the final one from Quincy Peters. Quincy, I never knew you were a teacher. From Quincy, he said, working from home is a pleasure for me. I believe we feel underappreciated because of the salary. I guess that's why there are not much men in this profession. And we hear that from men all the time.
Shibiki, I've never seen a male nursery school teacher in my life. Never.
I have never seen none. That's why we're surprised that they actually have two. So Cinda says she's going to send my greetings to them. And I wish I had known them before, that I would have been able to have them on this program and hear their experience, from a nursery level. But I just want to say thanks to each and every one of you. I don't know if any one of you have any comment whatsoever, something that you would have missed, valuable sentence or two you would want to make just before we close our program.
All right. If I make that one sentence, there is a quotation. I would put it as that I would have learned during my years when the government of Guyana was seeking to have primary schools be labeled as the Escuela Nueva, meaning the new school. All right. And we had the Beams project being, on stream. And
Yeah.
having been exposed to different workshops during those years in the mid 2000s, early 2000 to 2005, 4 thereabout, I left those workshops with this one key thought. And everywhere I go, I paste it. Every child can learn and must be given the chance to. Every child can learn and must be given the chance to. So even though, like you would have rightly said, that some, think that teachers must make stone out of bread and make brain out of paper, and distinctions out of C's, and so every child can learn, like Sarah Willon rightly quoted from one of the outstanding coaches. C is where the child has been given a chance to learn, and that is what he or she produced or produces. So every child can learn and must be given the chance to, meaning that he or she will not, all of them will not achieve A's or distinctions, but given that chance, every child will learn. So let's give our children this fair chance. Yes, the pandemic is on. There are many children, even right in my community, who have not attended any school since last year. And what I would have done, I tried, but it was overwhelming. I took to my feet. I went into the streets. I got the ministry to put up chalkboards, and I would go out there and put work. And I copied that idea from the Jamaicans. Somebody in Jamaica did that and had them go with their books, go come. And it was an amazing experience. But of course, it's only one me. And I have a
That's
class to teach online. So I couldn't maintain it. But, let's give our children all the chance to learn for they can be successful. God's blessings.
beautiful. Thank you very much. Beautiful. I love that initiative. I really, really do love it. Any one of the gentlemen, if you have anything to say, if not, it's all right. I just want to say thank you so much for being here. All right, go ahead, Dwight.
I'll close with this. God created us as human beings to always keep learning. And if we are always willing to learn, we'll always be looking for a teacher.
Oh, yeah. And that is what this is no, it doesn't matter pandemic or not. It doesn't matter what the world face. The teaching profession will never ever be out. Teachers, you don't have to be afraid of losing your job. But I mean, we understand the vaccination mandate right now. That's another episode all by itself, right? In Guyana, the drama that is going on there, because we don't have that drama here in Trinidad and Tobago. But besides that, you don't have to worry about losing your job. They will always need teachers, no matter what. So I love that quotation.
I just
So,
want to add,
mhm,
if I may,
Sister Sabiki, the drama has ended with the vaccine. Don't worry. Everything is only lasts for a season.
also the drama ended. That,
That's what I'm
that's
saying. I
okay.
see
All
it. I
right.
see it start to. Don't worry. Don't worry. That drama is coming to an end soon. Drama doesn't last forever. Every drama has an end.
I like that. True, true, true.
yes,
Peter.
I'll just add in that a lot of mothers are struggling on their own with their children, and they could really use the help of the fathers. So I just want to encourage the fathers. Mommy cannot do it alone.
Yeah.
They need your help, and some of the children are failing because the father got it wrong to support the mother. God did not design a woman to carry the burden of the world on her shoulders. And I think that men could really help. Some are helping, but I see some mothers are really frustrated and flustered because there's just so much to handle by themselves. So this is a call to the fathers to lend a helping hand and don't think that the mothers got everything figured out. They don't, and they need your help.
Beautiful appeal. I love that appeal. I love it. I love it. Nice. Willan, I know you itching. Go right ahead.
Yeah, well, I just want to say it was a pleasure to be a part of this program, not only with my esteemed guests or co-guests, I should say rather, but also the chat. I really appreciate the love that we got in the chat, and I do see some very hard-working teachers in the chat. So I just want to encourage everybody, to keep up the good work. Teacher Shibiki, yourself, keep up the good work. and keep up this wonderful program. And my final call would be to, teachers, just remember the hidden curriculum as well. Just not just about what we do in the classroom, but so many times we have to go way beyond the classroom, and we do know we will get that reward. So let's just keep it up. We might get discouraged, it might be frustrating, but let's keep it up.
You see, I tell you, this man sound like a principal. There is no teachers program that ends without somebody telling you they remember the hidden curriculum. And the fact that nobody has, I didn't even remember about that tonight, right? And the fact that Willan brought it up, Willan, okay, Mr. Principal, you might be coach / principal. The ministry might tell you, here, Willan, we can pay a little extra, coach in the afternoon and run the office during the course of the day. But thank you so much to all of you, and of course to our wonderful guests. Thank you so much. The guests, thank you very much, Peter, Willan, Teacher Melinda, and Sir Newsome. Thank you for being here. And then, of course, all the members of the audience, those of you who were viewing anonymously, those of you who would have made a comment in the chat, thank you for being here. Let us support our children, parents, support us as teachers, so that we can both accomplish the work that God has called us to accomplish. And I will close with Cummins' statement here. Jesus is our master teacher. And once we experience and adopt the example of Jesus, we can bring out the best in our children. Thank you very much, Sharon, for sharing that beautiful comment. And I am going to ask our Missile to close us, and then we are going to play the outro. Next week, by God's grace, next week, we want to look at we touching base with breast cancer. So look out for that. I know you would have maybe seen something, but we really and truly we want to identify the medical aspect of it next week. And then the following week, we will hear some survivor stories. So tune into Issues in Focus, and thank you once again for your continued support. Over to you, Missile.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you humbled and privileged for the opportunity to shape and mold minds. We pray that we may not just teach content, but we may be part of the character molding experience. We pray, oh Father, that you may use us, continue to guide us. We pray for teachers all around the world. Oh Father, we pray for parents as well who are struggling, who are trying to make ends meet and also educate their children. Oh Father, continue to use us, continue to direct us in our ministry, and we pray that when everything is said and done, and you ask us, what did we do with the talents, and what did we do with the students that you entrusted us with? We could say, without trepidation or fear, that we did everything in our power to teach them what is right. We thank you and we praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen and amen. All right, so thank you very much, guys. See you again next week, and have a wonderful rest of the week. Take care.
You have been a wonderful audience. Don't forget to like the page and follow on Facebook at Issues in Focus with Shibiki Vibers. And subscribe to the YouTube channel, Issues in Focus with Shibiki Vibers. Follow me also now on Instagram with username Shibiki. Join us next Thursday at 6:30 p.m. God's blessings. See you then.